If you look at any company that ever falls apart, you can always trace it down to they stopped doing the fundamentals. Now, business today can be extremely complicated in various different ways, whether it's scientific or it's technological or it's political or whatever direction that it goes, it can get very complicated. The bigger the business, there's a lot of moving parts to it. But when you look at what something's wrong in any business, I don't care if it's the biggest company on the planet down to the mom and pop grocery store. When there's a problem, the first place that you have to look is the fundamentals of what it is that you're doing. You want the fundamentals ingrained so much into your consciousness that it becomes the way that you think and the way and your complete outlook on life itself because of this problem that I'm going to show you. If we understand that when we fail at something or when we get ourselves into trouble, there's a way that that's happening. It's not just happening, okay? Doesn't matter what problem shows up in your life, what situation, how bad it is, how difficult it is, how painful it might be. There is a way that that's happening, right? The universe works on cause and effect with the things that you want just as much as it does for the things that you don't want. And where people kind of go off the rails with a problem is that, of course, their senses pick up the problem someplace out here in their results, their circumstances, or their environment. And it feeds that information back into the conscious mind where they see it, okay? They have some kind of an idea about what's happening. But how they perceive that idea is being directed by the subconscious mind, right? Remember, the subconscious mind is always telling us how to think about what it is that we're perceiving. Now, here's where the danger comes in. When something happens on the outside, well, let me even back up on that. If something happens on the outside, a real thing happens in your life, or you imagine it, right? In other words, doubt, worry, and fear creep into your mind and you start imagining the things that can go wrong. I don't know how I'm going to make payroll this week. I don't know where I'm going to get that team member. 3 people called in sick today. I don't know how we're going to get the work done. When you do that, you start imagining what you don't want. Okay. So the moment that you start imagining what you don't want, it's just as real as if it actually happened out here in your reality, because the first stage of creation is always in what you're holding in your conscious mind. So whether it's a reflection of what you see on the outside here, or it's an image here, they're both in the flow of creation. Now, when our emotions get off, when we get triggered in any way, the subconscious mind, in order to pull us back to safety, will do something very interesting. It's like one of the first steps of sabotage is that it will create confusion. And it sends that confusion up to the conscious mind, and then we don't know what to do. Why? Because we're confused. Now, this is in itself a fundamental. Even in sales and in marketing, we say the same thing. A confused mind doesn't buy. Sales needs to be clear. It needs to walk them through the stages of consciousness in which they can clearly say yes or no. Problem solving needs to be clear. Visioning and goal setting needs to be clear. And understanding what problem you have in the moment as you move through building your business or in your life, clarity is king. The first sign of confusion should be a giant red flag that gets waved in your consciousness. Wait a minute. I'm confused. You're confused. We're confused. This problem is confusing. Okay? In truth, it's actually very clear. Your mind is creating a state of confusion. Now, if the ultimate idea within the human being is to move toward more life, and Waddles pointed that out in The Science of Getting Rich, what purpose would confusion make? It would seem as if the idea of clarity would be almost instantaneous. Well, there's a couple things that cause confusion. How about what you don't know that you don't know? You could make the wrong decision based on that idea. Or you could go into doubt, worry, and fear around that idea. Even if you make the wrong decision, that's a cause set in motion that'll give you a result. But those results could be from being something minor to being catastrophic or causing, it could cost a person their life, right? They make the wrong turn. They switch lanes without looking, right? They pay attention to their phone and they don't see the truck coming right at them and they cross the lane. Like what seems to be very small swings of the needle can cause major, just absolutely major issues in a person's life. But when those things happen, it's because the fundamentals aren't being practiced. We veer off from the idea of what is sound in order to keep things moving on target, on track, and we get off track. Now, a lot of times with this, what I'm focusing on specifically today is the emotional state of problems where it causes confusion. So when confusion shows up, if it is when you see that red flag wave, the idea should be that you just stop and recognize that it's confused. Now, why is the mind doing this? Because when we're confused, we're either in a state of doubt, worry, fear, or the unknown, and the subconscious is instantly trying to pull us back to what it knows. It doesn't matter if the consequence of that is severe or not. That's all the subconscious mind can do. It wants to pull you back to what is known. Now, when you think about this in something like sales or any part of your business, and you think, let's just take sales for a second. If you think to yourself, well, this person has a need for our product or service. It seems to be the right time for the product or service. Why aren't they stepping forward in that? Well, the same thing happens in their mind that happens in anybody else's mind. A state of confusion occurs, right? Everything's going perfect, and then a state of confusion occurs. And what they do is they go back to the paradigm where they feel safe. It doesn't matter how much sense you think it makes for them to purchase right then and there. So when you see that, you have to realize they're in confusion. It has the same thing. If you're trying to get your kids to do something, and you know that it's the right thing, but they're not doing the right thing, and they seem to be confused about what to do, it's because their mind is trying to pull them back into the same place. See, that paradigm in our mind is so strong that all you have to do is step out of the lane just a little bit, and it tries to pull you right back to where you were, right? It would be cool if it would transport us forward into a better result, but it doesn't do that. Now, if you don't practice the fundamentals, you won't know that. Because one of the things that I see that happens instantaneously is that when a person's confused, they're usually projecting it onto something in their reality. There's something wrong with my marketing. There's something wrong with my team. There's something wrong with the sale. There's something wrong with something. I don't know. We've just been trying everything. We can't seem to hire someone. And then when you start to break it down to what they've actually been doing, they're not trying everything. I don't understand why my numbers aren't up this month and we're going to risk not making payroll. Well, how many people have you asked to buy this month? And then you find out that the number's completely off. So with every one of these cases, you look at it and it's like somewhere along the line, the person stopped practicing the basic fundamentals of what makes their business profitable and actually moves it forward. It doesn't matter that you consciously know it. It matters that you understand the process of how your mind works so that when you see it, you recognize it for what it is. And then you can instantly change it. But we always want to change it from the place of not accepting the suggestion of doubt, fear, or worry that the subconscious will place in your conscious mind. Because it gets you to focus on what could go wrong, what might go wrong. And the moment that we start doing that, we change our imagination. And the moment we change our imagination, we start creating from the place of what we don't want. And because that's the easiest place for you to create from, because you've got such a paradigm for it in your lifetime, those things have a tendency to happen more instantly than not. It's so easy for us to unconsciously create a problem in our life as a distraction to take us right off course. or to notice something that becomes a distraction, or to be sucked into something that becomes a distraction. Now, it doesn't necessarily feel that way when it happens because there's something that even if it's not good, there's something that's energized, something weird that's energizing about it. I've seen people even think maybe I should be doing something else because there's so much energy behind the thing, whatever it is that it might be. And before you know it, they're way off in left field someplace, not thinking about because they don't understand what happened. They don't understand that their mind was hijacked by something that's pulling them off course in a different direction. I have a goal card that I read many times a day. It stays with me all the time. This on this card is what I ultimately want to accomplish. So this card is in and of itself is a roadmap for my mind. It's telling me what to focus on all the time. Now, the other day I said, when you write a goal down, you want to get everything that's not that goal out of your life. If it's going to be in your life, it should be part of the goal process, right? You could say, I want an amazing relationship, or I want an amazing marriage, and I want to have kids, and we want to live in this house, and we want to be able to do all these different things. All of that's great. You could put whatever you want on it, but if it's not on it, it shouldn't be around you. Because if it's around you, it will distract you. And if it distracts you, it will make what you're doing difficult. It'll cause you to doubt what you're doing. It'll take you off track. You have to realize that when you decided to start a business, you decided to raise yourself up in society above the norm. You decided to play a different game. You can't play this game like a working class person going to work. And I don't mean that in any derogatory way for a person that works. You decided to play a bigger game. If your kid's playing soccer in high school and they get on a national team, it's a different game. If they're playing football in high school and they decide to go pro, it's a different game. Everything in their life has to change in order to maintain the accomplishment of that. When you decided to start a business, you decided to start a different game. Now, what that means is you have to determine the game that you want to play with your business and your life. And there's no right or wrong here. That's one of the great things about it, because the idea of business alone gives you a level of freedom that most people will never have, right? You get to decide what you do every day. You get to decide how much money you earn to do whatever you want in life. And thank God we live in a place where we can actually pull that off, because that was not the way that it's been throughout all of history. And what I mean is I'm talking about free society. Without free society, you could not do those things. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of business do I want? Do I want a lifestyle business, which means I know exactly how much money I want to earn, and I know how much I want to work, and I want to go be able to do all kinds of other things at the same time. So then you design your business accordingly. That means that you'll have to learn the skill sets that are required to be able to do that. You got to decide what kind of business you want. Do you want a mega multi-million dollar company or a billion-dollar company? That's fine too. But the idea is that you have to start to commit to what it is that you want, and you have to start to arrange your life to support it. You can't have a life that's contradicting where you want to go. If you want to take it to the next level, you have to be willing to move your life to the next level, or you're not going to get to the next level. And if you do, the chances of it coming down around you are very high because there's too many distractions around you. I've seen a lot of people go after really big business and go, you know what? I don't want that. What I really want is a lifestyle business. And then they go back and they create that. The first sign that there's a problem is confusion in the mind. When you become confused about something, you have to understand there's a foreign entity that has entered your consciousness. It could be coming from the outside, or it could be coming from the inside. In other words, you could be imagining it based on results that you see, and you're like, if this doesn't change, these bad things could go wrong. So immediately what you start doing is creating in the consciousness about what you don't want. I promise you that you will instantly start manifesting that in your life if you don't change it. So when confusion sets in, you have to ask yourself, what is this? right? It's a first principle idea. What is this problem in and of itself? Is this a sales problem? Is it me, a discipline problem? Am I not following my calendar? Am I not sticking to the numbers of what I said I was going to do? Is there something out of integrity in what I said I was going to do? Like the idea about giving the money away. That should be a lifelong process. If you've gone back into not doing it, your subconscious mind hijacked you. It doesn't have to be the 3,000. That's where I started. That's where Bob had me start. I thought it was a great place to start because it stretched me. But the idea is that in order to receive, you have to give. And it has to flow from you freely without resistance. And that will never happen if you don't do it consistently. And then you have to be able to receive in a way where there's no resistance. People have a terrible time giving and receiving. All self-worth stuff. The only way to break through it is to give more and to receive graciously and to expect to receive in every area of your life. But if you don't do it, if you're like, that's not important, I got to get that landing page up. Like, no, you're destroying the fundamentals of what causes business to come in. Business doesn't come in because of your landing page. It comes in because of the energy that you have to receive it. I used to always ask myself this question when stuff would show up, especially in the early days, but I do it today too. If this was to go away, the computer, the landing page, the phone, the marketing, could I still do business? Is this a first principles idea? Could I still earn money if this went away? And I'm not talking about is it possible? Can I in my skill set? If computers went away, if phones went away, if all technology went away, I know that I could get up and I could go meet people out on the street. I could go door to door with people and I could make sales all day long. So nothing that happens that goes wrong can stop me from the progression forward. But you have to think first principles. What is this problem in and of itself? Write that down. What is this problem in and of itself? It's Marcus Aurelius. When you isolate that problem, then you know what it is to fix. And it's always a fundamental. It could be a fundamental and a bad web page or a broken marketing thing or something went wrong with Facebook. But you always have to look at what is the fundamental component. So what do all sports teams do? They practice the fundamentals. They're professionals. They practice right, Raheem? The fundamentals over and over and over. Every successful person has a regimen of practicing the fundamentals constantly because it has to be reactive in your mind. You need it to be there when you're not thinking, so it is the alternative thing to do, right? Instantly when something happens. It's not like, I'm going to get distracted and go off. No, your mind goes, nope, that's a distraction. We need to do the fundamentals. Don't stop here. If this message moved you, hit subscribe and keep building momentum with the next video in the playlist. And if you're ready to take this further, head to our website and grab the free resources waiting for you in the link below. They'll help you start putting this into practice right now.